We can't say the future without AI. I mean, there's no way around it. 50% of workers now believe AI is going to improve their experience. When I come into the meeting room, I need a way to incorporate my AI with what's going on in the meeting. It's almost a bring your own AI type of a concept. Most of what we do in our day-to-day is going to change significantly.
Hear the latest AV trends and predictions in this episode of Crestron's Smarter Spaces podcast on your preferred podcast platform.
It feels like we're an industry of finger pointers, right? From our customers. The customers don't know any better. You know, they always see me when they call us. Oh, it's not us. It's actually the cable company. Oh, you know what happened? Apple did an update and the CEC broke. Oh, you know what happened now is the Sonos system went down because Sonos is on drugs. And we tell our kids not to do drugs, but they don't listen.
How dare you point at me?
You were pointing first.
Rude to point.
You're being very rude. You're pointing at me right now as you say that. Look
pointing.
at you.
I'm
Look
just
at
pointing
your
at
finger.
your pointing.
Look at your
which
finger
is different
right
than
now.
normal pointing.
You are pointing.
You haven't seen
You're
pointing
accusing
until I
me
can
of
prove
pointing.
you.
On this episode of ResiWeek, we talk all things Sonos, new apps, Q2 reports, and new headphones. All this and more on this episode of ResiWeek. This is ResiWeek, episode 432, The Sonos Show. Welcome to this episode of ResiWeek. This is your weekly roundup of all the latest news and stories for the residential AV industry. I'm your host, Matt D. Scott for AVNation.tv. And this week, I'm pleased to be joined by the Tri-State Brothers. We've got Todd Puma. He's the president of the Source Home Theater. How you doing, Todd?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
Me too. Then we got Mark Feinberg. He's the president of Home Theater Advisors in the city. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great, Matt. Finally enjoying what seems like summer might be here. So I'm getting kind of happy.
Dude, 80 degrees today here.
It's insane. It's awesome.
I had to close my sunroof. It was so hot. Air conditioning on, sunroof closed, because again, it was hot. All right, gentlemen, we are going to kick off this episode, which essentially is just going to talk about Sonos. This is front to back Sonos, most likely, for a couple of interesting reasons. First of all, coming to us from Wired, many people do not like the new Sonos app, which is the understatement of headlines that I've seen in a long time. Last week, they launched a new version of the app. If you had automatic updates in your app stores, you got it without any notice. It was also pushed as a notification within the app, to the chagrin of course, most integrators who, again, hurried to rush out an email to the client saying, please don't update yet, because they're having a lot of issues with this. Go read through the article. Go check out any social media integrator group that focuses on residential or Sonos. Go read the subreddit. And there's a litany of issues going on here. Todd, we know how Sonos works, right? Generally, right? Like, they are a big company. They are a public company. This is not like hey, there's a designer in the back room who went, ooh, I'm going to update the app and push it. Like, this would have gone through a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of, hopefully, dealer testing, dealer group testing, etc., beta testing. And yet there's not only a ton of missing features, there's a bunch of issues that just are like, there are systems that flat out do not work. How does a company the size and scale of Sonos, I'm trying to mince words on this, but how do they put out an app that is such a debacle such as this? How does this get through testing?
To be honest with you, that's the question I was speaking with Mark earlier about. You know, as for myself, as I use Sonos more as a media streamer with my Crestron systems, and it's been working great. It's been the most solid system that we have. It's user-friendly. It's been a brick. It's been absolutely the only product that we offer that we have the most consistency on. And that's what I kind of loved about Sonos, is originally I would bash them and say, they're not for the CI channel. They're not for us. They're against us. And Mark would be my witness to that on multiple different CDs we would occur and would go to. And now I'm kind of thinking to myself, is they don't even like their own customers, let alone the CI channel, because you have to hate us or hate the community or hate your customer base in order to release something like this. What kind of ignorance does it take for whoever developed this. And, it's like you were stating, it's a large company. It's not one individual that's making the decision. It's a farm of engineers. It's a farm of hopefully beta testers and dealers that are going through this. And when they said, let's push this, was it one of those things that they pushed it because they had to hit a timeline or they had to put something new out, that they just wanted to get it out there and think, hey, you know what? We see all these flaws. Nobody's going to notice them. Is that the question there? Or is that what they have done? Because it's self-sabotage in a sense. And I've never seen a company that has done something of this large of scale. They're acting like an immature company that just came to market. Someone new. This is like an Autonomics. Like, I'm not stating Autonomics has done this, but it's more of the size and the scale of Autonomics of a company like that to more be kind of prone to this kind of release and what they push forward. What I'm more worried about right now is our services to our clients. When the customers know something that's so stable as Sonos and something they're consistently using, and now how do we speak to this? How do we communicate with them? Do we just point the finger and say, hey, listen, they suck. What are we going to do? These guys suck. But we can't. We have to sit there and give them the facts. When is this timeline going to be given to us when this is going to be resolved? For me, it should have been resolved yesterday. Or they should have reversed it and put it back to the original app and kind of said, hey, listen, we found our issues, own it, and move on from there. But I don't believe they have at this point. Am I correct? Has anything been announced?
They definitely haven't rolled back. They've kind of dug their heels in on it. And in what I've read, it is incredibly challenging to roll back a system that's installed back to S2. I think there's a way to do it. There is a workaround, but it seems to be incredibly frustrating. Mark, Todd brings up a great point, right? The communication of this is, I take issue with it. Now, I took issue with their communication when they went from original Sonos and split to S1 and S2. And like, heck, you and I've talked about this multiple times. We as integrators were on the front lines of getting bashed by customers for that. This is going to be that same issue. And if you read through, some of the forums or some of the Reddit channels, integrators are getting lit up for this. So how do integrators deal with the communication of this? How should Sonos be dealing with the communication of this? Is there anything anybody can do? Or is this just hey, we're going to push this and it is what it is?
Yeah, I mean, at least the difference here between S1 and S2 is initially when S2 came out, they were bricking S1 only product. So at least They did reverse that, right? That was like a poor business decision. This was a poor technical execution. It wasn't the intention wasn't to brick systems here. So it's a technical mistake. It's a business mistake to release a not fully baked app, but it was the technical issues they're facing are not intentional. Whereas initially saying we're going to brick S1 was intentional. So we're getting less heat on that.
Let me just, sorry, I want you to answer the communication issue, but I do have a quick sub question maybe.
Yeah.
Do you think that this was tested on the general populace as far as in their beta testing? Do you think it was the random homeowner who's bought something off Amazon or Best Buy and had it delivered and they've got 2 zones, opposed to our channel who has, our average customer, I think, has 7 to 9 devices? Do you think that was the breakdown?
I don't know. I do know there were dealers that were in the beta test. I've heard that from Sonos employees that there were, Sonos dealers were in the beta. I don't know on the end user level if they have end users who beta test software or not. I'm surprised that these issues weren't surfaced. I mean, it just sounds like the people who are beta testing it were just even opening up existing systems is problematic now. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how it was all missed, but and maybe it's a back end thing. I mean, they have released 2 app updates in the last few days to address some of the more critical issues with getting stuck in an update loop and things like that. And as a direct dealer, I've gotten those emails that they have pushed some of those updates. The communication, I think as Todd spoke about, and I think you may have mentioned it as well, we're, reaching out to clients and saying, you may be running into some Sonos issues. Know you're not alone. Know that Sonos is working on it. There's not much we can do at this point for you. It's been, a poor execution on an update, and they're working to fix things as fast as they can. Unfortunately, some of your Sonos zones may not be usable until this kind of all settles down, and we're holding off other than critical needs on service calls because most of the time we can't solve it either. It's just a technical issue that we can't get past.
But here's the thing, right? It feels like we're an industry of finger pointers, right? From our customers. The customers don't know any better. They always see me when they call us. Oh, it's not us. It's actually the cable company. Oh, you know what happened? Apple did an update and the CEC broke. Oh, you know what happened now is the Sonos system went down because Sonos is on drugs. And we tell our kids not to do drugs, but they don't listen.
I agree with you, Todd. But let me ask you this, though. It sucks because the optics look terrible as integrators, right?
Yeah.
Because we're all, not always, but typically we're pointing the finger at the supplier.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, typically it's the supplier's fault.
Yes.
Right.
As integrators, there is not a single thing we could have done to prevent our clients from executing this upgrade. We can't block it.
Nope.
We can't control what settings they have on their app store.
Right.
Right. There's not a single thing we can do. So yeah, it makes us look dumb. But at the same time, it is what it is.
I sort of think the only way we look a little, not better, but not as bad in this one is that it's a self-contained ecosystem in Sonos. It's like, okay, your Sonos isn't working. It's Sonos's fault. When we're blaming the cable company because the modem is a piece of crap, well, we spent X thousands of dollars with you on this network. Why isn't it working? And then we're pointing the finger at the cable company. Or we spent all this money on this name, your control system, Control 4, Crestron system, and I can't watch TV, and it's the cable box. Right, because they're more integrated systems than the other things. This Sonos is a standalone kind of ecosystem. So I think I'm feeling, at least for my clients, they're getting it a little bit more. It doesn't feel as finger pointing because it's like, okay, this app changed, and they see a direct relationship. This app changed, and things don't work now. They're seeing the direct relationship.
They don't get that. Our customers, based on the clientele, half the time I don't even speak to them. I'm speaking to someone else who is speaking on their behalf.
Right.
So it's a lot harder to explain it through the middleman.
That's fair.
And what I think is we got to not only think about ourselves in this case, we have to think about our industry as a whole. This is what occurred right now. Mm-hmm. Now we have integrators out there that only stand behind Sonos, right? That's their whole business model. They're doing very well. How do those integrators, explain to their customers? Or how about if you're about to update and you're getting offered a brand new home that they're only living in an apartment and suddenly they get this experience with Sonos and now their large home that was going to be scaled up, say a $200,000 system.
Yep.
You think that they're going to trust our judgment based upon this? If we sit there and stand behind a product, and I would say this, is Sonos has been the only rock solid component that I have.
Yeah.
And it's been this way since day one. And now you sit there and we have a debacle like this.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt us more than the present. We have to think about our future. And we also have to rethink the way we word things. I'm never come there and ever say promising words. This is the best. It's solid. It works. It'll never stop. And I did that with Sonos, and shame on me for ever doing that, because I always practice not to say that.
I do think, and then we'll move on to another Sonos story, but I do think that there is a bit of a understanding, especially with Sonos in this case specifically, because there has been major news coverage of it, right? It's not just a weird thing that only affects the integrator community, right? This is hitting everyone who literally has a single piece of Sonos gear in their house. They're potentially running into this issue, and their neighbor is too, right? It's like when the internet goes down in your local node, you can whine and complain all day long about your supplier, but when you, your neighbor, the guy across the street, the person at the corner. When everybody's down, it's less of an issue because, again,
Right.
everybody's down. I think the hard thing is that as an industry, we are so reliant on everyone else, all these major manufacturers, that if something like this does happen, there's not a single thing we can do.
Right.
And for any of you people that are going to tell me to go buy MusicCast or something else like that, stop it. Get out of here.
Right.
Right.
Nothing's more reliable than Sonos. This is...
Well, and nothing works as well.
No.
And I don't care what you say. That's a fact. Up into this app update. All right, let's change topics.
Hi, this is Jennifer Goodyear
and Erica Carroll
from the Women in AV podcast, where we are encouraged by the incredible stories of women in AV.
Listen in on fun, empowering conversations as we chat with inspiring women, breaking barriers and creating their own path in the industry.
Check out Women in AV on AVNation.tv or wherever you get your podcasts.
Sort of. This comes to us from Strategy and our good friend, Mr. Ted Green. Sonos says their Q2 fiscal report exceeded their expectations with revenues down 17% and losses at plus 127%. So obviously Patrick Spence was expecting some interesting results. They're doing better at being not as good as they thought they were going to be, which is a very interesting way to word that. Mark, when you look at this, when you look at the Q2 reports, they are a little interesting, but they're not surprising. Is my take. What did you see in here that made sense to you and kind of hit that? Again, I don't love it, but this is what I expected to see. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think I expected to see their loss more than double. I'm not surprised that, and I guess it's all to scale, right?
Yes,
they have fixed expenses, so just the way the dollars flow through the income statement. But what I wasn't surprised is that their sales are down because my sales are down. I think your sales are down. I think everyone's sales are down because things aren't looking. The real estate market is not as robust as it has been. Things are slow. Now our channel is not the meat of Sonos. I think we're about 25-30% of total sales. So yeah, we're a fraction of it, but then, if they're seeing it across the board, it kind of sort of validates what I've been seeing in the marketplace and what I've been hearing, talking to other dealers, talking to my manufacturers, talking to trade partners. Things are slow.
Todd, how much of this is, again, when you look at these reports, when you look at what the financial analysts are saying and how they're kind of, I'm not going to say they're bearish, but they're soft. They're definitely soft on Sonos right now. How much of that is Wall Street versus Main Street versus like Integrator Alley? Is there a major difference between those three markets?
I think it's about, I can't speak on the numbers. I can't even speak on stocks. I don't understand that whole aspect of things. That's more of Mark's area of expertise, but I can speak on the integrator's standpoint. And if Mark is sitting here stating that the business in New York City, which is, somewhere that really never struggles because of the amount of people that live there, and he's feeling it. And again, just to piggyback on what Mark said, is yes, a lot of the Main Street manufacturers are stating that business is down, and we aren't getting the numbers we used to be getting. But I also, with the Sonos thing, I don't know if they're comparing it to the boom of the pandemic based upon their loss. Is at that point in time, we went to a high. Everything was selling. Yeah. Everybody bought whatever you said. And are they comparing it to those numbers versus what we're currently seeing? Yes, we are slow. And I think a lot of people are stating that we are slow because the boom that we had during the pandemic, it kind of just recently fell down at this point. I think in 2023, right near August is when I started seeing a real big change. Mm-hmm. And our business was kind of hurting once we hit January to March area. I was actually in shock and kind of worried at that point, where we're going to be and how we're going to maintain the numbers we maintain, as well as keep my company afloat and my staff, moving in the right direction. With that being said, there is always something that pops up. There's great opportunities out there. And I think we just kind of got to think about the way we go to business, and we got to open up our communication protocols to more architects, builders, and designers, and kind of sell them on the value of who we are as integrators. We're not just Sonos. We're more than that. We're pretty much going to give you a custom tailored solution based on your lifestyle and needs. And we need to overall go through the whole experience that we're offering and kind of just get out there and take those chances. For myself, I'm referral based. I never had to go outside of my little ecosystem like Sonos and screw up my app. I mean, my company, whatever Sonos screws up on, which is everything.
And Todd gets cut off from being a Sonos dealer.
Yeah. All of a sudden he's buying it at Best Buy. So before you dig a deeper hole there, let me just ask kind of both of you this real quick. How much of this is due to market saturation? Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's very rare that I come across a client who doesn't already own a piece of Sonos gear, whether we've worked with them or not. How much of their decline is due to, again, just market sat?
But Sonos fixed that with S1. All that gear that's bricked, we have to replace. They looked out for us, Matt. Come on.
Hopefully they do it again with all the new products that are coming out. Maybe this is all just joy.
Speaking of new products, here's our last story of the day to wrap up our Sonos show.
Nothing but Sonos.
Nothing but Sonos. This comes to us from The Verge. The Sonos Ace headphones are here, and they are impressive. The byline, of course, is quite telling because the company's app redesign fumble threatens to steal the thunder from what otherwise looks and feels like a strong debut in a new category. This was teased to dealers and end users alike as an announcement with the highest demanded product that they've ever had, which we, of course, were all expecting to be a multi-channel amp, which it was not. So thanks, Patrick. But it is the one that honestly has been requested the most to me, which are a pair of headphones. They're coming out at $450 US, and they will, in a manner, connect to your Sonos system. The biggest feature that I know people are looking for in these are the ability to transfer TV audio from a soundbar to the headphones, which they will do in a limited application that I'm sure Mark would love to get into on a deeper level in a second. They look good. They look cool. They're in the same price as you'd kind of expect for headphones like this. Todd, when you see this, my concern is that just like the app, there seems to be a bunch of features that are going to roll out down the road to the point of right now, the handoff only works. The TV handoff only works on ARC. It shuts off the audio to the ARC, so it becomes a one-to-one opposed to a group situation. I'm hearing rumors that it only works on iOS. You can't make that change happen on Android right now, but that's coming. What's with the rollout of arguably a really nice looking pair of headphones with a limited functionality to start?
I think it's actually kind of a smart move based on all the debacle that they've been causing and issues with their app. Is with the main protocol built on the headphones, I think is great is for when someone is in a bed and their partner is watching TV, it keeps them up. So the one and the most requested that I usually have is how to get the headphones, to mimic whatever's on the TV. And I think this part of what Sonos is offering is great. It turns off the soundbar. And for that application, when someone is sleeping, you have the headphones on and you're still able to watch TV. That's fantastic. Now, not having all the features and what's going forth with that, I think that's something that will come fairly quickly. And I think that we need to just, kind of enjoy what they're offering right now, that they did give their customer base one of the most requested products that has ever came across Sonos's board, and also that they went outside of the speakers. They're actually now a wearable product. They went outside wirelessly with the room. They have the Move that works outdoors. And it seems like with this is their venture is actually expanding. With that being said, is I believe by them going outside and building all these product categories is when we're going to start seeing more issues with the product lines that are prior to. And if they keep on adding more and more products, we're going to start experiencing a lot more of service calls based upon them being able to maintain so many SKUs.
Yeah. All right, Mark, wrap this up for me. I know my dream with the Sonos headphones that have been rumored for years was headphones that were a zone that operated in the ecosystem just like every other Sonos device out there.
Right.
These are not that. These are noise canceling Bluetooth with some features out of the box and potentially some more down the road. But like, we're not even talking the ability to currently pair these with a Beam or an Array, and it's only Beam Gen 2. So no love for you Playbar owners. Is this, I'm confused as to whether I think this is a great move or a mediocre move. I think getting into wearables is fantastic, right?
Yep.
I was hoping for a whole lot more. Now, I don't know if my customers are going to necessarily sit back and go, man, I wish there was more to these. I have a feeling that they're not going to care. Is it just, is this a miss yet? Is this a hit? Where do you sit on this?
I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity. And I think I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I think clients are going to be confused. When Roam and Move came up, people were like, oh, I can use these as like my rear speakers in a surround sound system and then, grab it to go outside. And I'm like, nope, can't be in a surround sound system. Anytime you sort of take something, especially with Sonos, that people expect everything in Sonos to be able to do everything Sonos. And these can't. They're a Bluetooth headphone. They're a nice Bluetooth headphone with spatial audio. I assume they're really comfortable. I assume they sound great. So in that respect, they're like any other Bluetooth headphone with the added benefit that they can pair to currently an ARC to give you TV audio. Mainly, the only use case I see in that right now is gaming. You don't want to disturb the rest of the household, or you're in bed with your partner at night and your partner's asleep and you just want to have the audio from the TV in your headphones. The way it works, my understanding is once you use the Ace, which is the headphone, it turns off the audio in the soundbar. So it's not even, I was looking for this as a great solution for my clients who are hard of hearing.
Right.
One person is hard of hearing, the rest of the family is not. So the hard of hearing person put on the headphones and crank it up as loud as they want, and everybody else can, watch TV as they normally would. That's not a use case here. I think that's a big miss because I get a lot of requests from my hard of hearing clients for either headphones or they want 5-channel stereo. They want those, the Sonos surround speakers to be playing the dialogue, and you can't even do that. So
let me, and we'll wrap this. Yeah, because it's been a lot of Sonos today.
A lot of Sonos.
Well, it is the Sonos show. What are you gonna do?
Yes.
I feel like we keep forgetting the fact that almost every newish TV has Bluetooth in it.
Right.
Like, and again, I'm excited for these, but I could have just as easily taken my AirPods or my Bose noise canceling, and I can Bluetooth them to my TV as well.
Yeah. Like, I don't do that often. I'm curious. When you do that,
I don't either. But I could.
Can that be done simultaneously with HDMI ARC?
There's a couple of TVs that do allow that, right? But it's not the norm.
Right, and that's the challenge. You still lose. Yeah. It's one.
But it's the same issue here. Like, right. That's where I kind of go.
Better.
We're so close, and yet so far away. Mm-hmm. And on that note, we're going to close. Oh, sorry, guys. All right. Thank you both so much for joining us. Mark, if people want to connect with you, learn more about Home Theater Advisors, where can they do that?
Best is connecting with me as Mark at Home Theater Advisors or throughout my socials. at Home Theater Advisors or my website, hometheateradvisors.com.
Excellent. Mr. Puma, if people want to connect with you, learn more about Marshall amps, but also, sorry.
Important stuff. Thank you.
I know, buddy. Also learn more about The Source Home Theater. Where can they do that?
You could either email me at todd@thesourcehometheater.com or head over to my website at thesourcehometheater.com.
Excellent. Thank you both again for joining us. If you'd like to connect with me, send me all kinds of hate mail on my takes on this today. You can do that at Matt D. Scott on Twitter or X and most other social platforms. But more importantly, please visit AVNation.tv, where you'll find this show as well as a wide variety of other shows with all the verticals that we cover. When you visit the website, please take a moment to check out our supporters. We are extremely thankful for their support and ask that you check them out as well. Thanks again for watching. That's all the time we have for this episode of ResiWeek,
the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.